on 3TV.
Good morning. I'm George Dean, President and CEO of the Greater Phoenix Urban League, a leading provider of human services in the Valley, and you are watching Urban Connections. For those of you who just might be tuning in for the first time, you need to know that Urban Connections came about through an agreement with the Greater Phoenix Urban League and Channel 3 that we would bring you a program at least once each month to talk about various issues, situations, concerns, conditions, and so forth that are taking place not only here locally, but statewide and indeed nationwide. And I'm very pleased that we have our guest for this morning is going to be someone who has been around a long time, Arizonan, if you will. Not native, but he is a native because he's been here so long now. And we're going to be talking about some of the things, especially getting ready for the summer that's coming up, and young people, our kids, you know, we say in the Urban League, our children equal our destiny. And I know that this gentleman and his organization, as well as the Urban League, we are working to do everything that we can to keep our young people on the straight and narrow and make them out to become productive citizens and so forth. So stay tuned. We'll be back.
We're here today with Tom Mello, owner of A1 Garage. Tom, why should I replace my garage door?
That's a great question. Most home builders install low-end garage doors. However, at A1 Garage, we transform your home with a new, beautiful designer garage door that will dramatically improve your home's curb appeal by up to 40%.
Great. So what makes A1 Garage different?
Well, for starters, we never use subcontractors. We have incredible customer service ratings, and we only use the highest quality products backed by the best warranties in the industry.
And right now, A1 Garage Door is offering a tremendous deal.
For a limited time, receive a free Whisper Drive garage door opener with 2 remotes and a wireless keypad installed with every new garage door purchase. Call for your free in-home design consultation. Serving all of Maricopa County and Northern Arizona. Call 602-341-3906. That's 602-341-3906.
A1Garage.com. A1 from day one.
It's time to spring into fun mode at Main Event. Right now, get your Play All Day Spring Fun Pass for just $18.95. Then challenge your friends and family to earn bragging rights in bowling, billiards, laser tag, and more. With over 50,000 square feet of awesome, it's the most fun you can have under one roof. So get out of the house and into Main Event today. For a limited time, enjoy Play All Day activities for just $18.95.
Want to make your love life sizzle like a Phoenix summer? Summit Male Medical guarantees to help you with ED or premature issues, or we won't charge you. We've helped tens of thousands of patients here in the Valley since 2008. Please compare our most experienced medical staff and low-price treatments to anybody. If you've talked to the rest, it's time to come to the best. Put the sizzle back in your love life. 480-398-1000 or go to summitmalemedical.com. Summit Medical, love for life.
Welcome back. George Dean, President and CEO, Greater Phoenix Urban League. And if you're just tuning in, you're just in time to catch this great show that we're going to put on for you today. And I'm very pleased to have as my guest, my longtime friend and comrade and colleague and so forth, Dr. Gene C. Blue, the President and CEO of Arizona OIC, Opportunities Industrialization Centers. And Gene, let me say, first of all, welcome again.
Thank you. Thank you so
Urban
much for having me.
Connections. You know, we find time each year to at least do one of these, if not more, because all of the things that are going on, not only in the Urban League, but in what's going on at Arizona OIC.
Yes,
You've
sir.
been right there for how many years now?
We're starting
to deliver services in our 51st year.
51st year, all right. That's half a century, more than a half a century.
Well, we're OGs, you know.
All right. Gene, just for the sake of our viewing audience, give us a rundown, a brief summary of what OIC is all about.
Oh, certainly, glad to. We, as I mentioned, the first 51st year that we're providing services as an affiliate of the OICs of America.
Okay.
The program, the activity started in Philadelphia by Reverend Dr. Leon Howard Sullivan, an individual who really committed himself and all resources to helping others to help themselves. Unemployed, underemployed, economically disadvantaged veterans are the folks that we target to provide the kind of skills that are needed to enter and stay in the workforce. We have been doing this now, as I mentioned, for 50 years, starting year 51. We have some 43 affiliates of the OICs of America across the country, and we are proud to be working with an individuals and with a group that really has as their mission, our mission, which is to provide services that deal with education, employment preparation for the unemployed, underemployed, and economically disadvantaged. We deal with both youth and adults, and we are now, as you mentioned, really starting to look closely at what's going to happen in the summer, particularly as it relates to our youth. But we have been providing services in Arizona. We've served close to 70,000 people during the time that we've been here, and we are looking now to keep on keeping on, because there's still need.
I think you also have a special emphasis on veterans.
We do.
Program
We
with
do.
a special emphasis on veterans.
Yes. We are working, we started that program working on, particularly on homeless veterans, some 4 years ago. We have a few houses that we provide for veterans. They are located in the South Phoenix area, and we're proud that each one of them is occupied by a veteran who's provided services to our country, who were homeless, and now that they are involved with OIC and in these houses, that they have a home, they have a place, so we can get them off the street. That was our objective, and we hope that we can double at least the size or the number of houses and homes that we have to serve more of our veterans in the coming year.
Now, is it subsidized housing for these veterans?
No, the veterans have to pay their rental, for it.
Right.
Now they get, of course, the veterans get support through various means through the service, and those like VASH vouchers are utilized to pay their rent. We also require that they honestly and objectively seek employment.
Okay.
So it's not someone, said, okay, you got this VASH voucher, you got this pay your housing voucher that's going to pay for housing, so you can sit at home. No, you got that taken care of. Now you've got to participate in one of our programs and go to work.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a working involvement that we have with our veterans.
So do you provide some training for them?
Yes, indeed. They are eligible for all of the training, educational training, whether it's academic and or vocational. Whether they participate in the Learning Opportunity Center, which is all computerized, and they can get, work through an arrangement we have with Microsoft. They can get Microsoft certification at OIC, or we can get them involved in work experience, work exposure, or on-the-job training with a number of the companies that we work with here in Phoenix and around the state of Arizona.
That's fantastic.
Well, it's a labor of necessity, and one that we love doing. Love to provide that kind of service, particularly to our vets.
Especially to our veterans and so forth. And it just seems like there is so much going on in our society today, and that we talk about the fact that the unemployment rate is low, and But we also talk about the fact that there are many jobs that are open, but we don't have the skills. When you don't have the skill and so forth to move into these jobs and so forth. And training monies, as far as the government is concerned, has been severely reduced, if not altogether, almost eliminated completely and so forth. But we also have the young people. We have our kids, our teenagers, starting at 13 and taking them right on through. That's our future, really. They're going to replace us OGs and so forth. So we got to make sure that they're doing. Tell us what you're doing with the young folks.
About a year and a half, 2 years ago, we did some research, because and found that most of the training dollars, federal, state, or city, were going to individuals who were at least 16 through 24 is the Workforce Investment Act. They had to be at least 16 to participate in their training and receive any kind of support, stipend for the training that they were involved in. However, we found that there were a number of teenagers, 13, 14, and 15, who were just below the cut. You know, they were just below that 16-year age, and many of them, though, wanted to work, wanted to be involved, wanted to obtain skills so that they could be competitive in the world of work. And with that kind of research and empirical data, we decided, well, let's see what we can do to make a difference.
Okay, hold that point right there, and let's take a break right here and come back, and we'll get into that, okay?
Okay.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
When the afternoon sun would hit those windows, that room was almost unbearable.
There's nothing like natural sunlight to brighten up a room. But what about when it's too bright? Roller Shield rolling shutters are the perfect solution to protect your home from sun damage and make your home livable again. Roller Shield rolling shutters are easy to operate and perfect for hard-to-reach windows.
I love my Roller Shield and wish I would have done it sooner.
Call the number on your screen for a free in-home estimate. Call now.
If you're the victim of a car, truck, or motorcycle accident, you need to call Jimmy Cook with Cook Law for a free estimate of your case's value.
Insurance companies don't want you to call an attorney because they don't want you to learn how much your case might be worth. That's why we have attorneys standing by to take your call and tell you how much your case may be worth.
The call is free, so call Jimmy Cook right now.
Jimmy Cook, the car crash lawyer you pick. Jimmy Cook, call 255-0606.
Traditional real estate has been the same for 100 years. It's due for disruption. OfferPad is a direct home buyer, and we believe it's the easiest way to sell your home. You can go to our website, you can give us the information about your home, and we'll get you a purchase offer within 24 hours. OfferPad gives homeowners the control, the certainty, and the freedom to move on their schedule. We're committed to giving homeowners the ultimate home selling experience.
OfferPad. Request your free purchase offer today.
Cavalia Odiseo is one of those shows you can't miss. The horses are amazing. The performers so talented. And you won't believe the beautiful visual effect. The best Las Vegas style show in Scottsdale. More shows added under the white big top. Visit Cavalia.com for details.
So what's the empty suitcase for?
The grand prize trophy.
I was born to be somebody.
Welcome back. George Dean, President and CEO of the Greater Phoenix Urban League, a leading provider of human services in the Valley. Talking this morning with Dr. Gene Blue, the President and CEO of Arizona Opportunities Industrialization Centers, and we are talking about some of the services that's been offered for the last 50-plus years to residents of Phoenix and the Valley of the Sun, I should say. as well as the state of Arizona. People come from all over to get the kind of services that OIC is providing. And we were talking about these 13, 14, and 15-year-old youngsters before we took that break, Gene. Finish out that story, what you're doing with them.
Certainly. Thank you so much. We call it the Gap program, or Gap project, because these youth are in that gap. I mean, where they don't fall within the purview of being eligible for any federal dollars or state or city dollars, because the state and city follow pretty closely the federal guidelines. And these individuals, 13, 14, and 15, we decided that we're going to try a pilot project anyway, to not just provide the skills ready for the world of work, but also to prove to funders, to prove to the feds and the city and what have you that, hey, we have some intelligent folks who are 13, 14, 15, some folks who can live by the rules and who want to work.
Okay.
We received assistance through Department of Economic Security with a spearhead of former Senator Leah Landrum Taylor, who came and worked with us to put together the pilot project. We wanted to make sure that we had youth who were able to participate for at least 8 weeks and would receive a stipend while they did work and work experience, work exposure, training kind of activities. It proved to be quite successful. Of the 24 kids who were in, and I had to be careful, I should say kids, because, you know, they call me kids. They tell me, well, we know you're an OG, but
we're children.
Yeah, I said, okay, I got it. I'll modify my vocabulary. But we wanted to make sure that they got the kind of exposure that would enable them, once they attain 16 or 17, to go to work and produce.
Okay.
We had 24, as I mentioned. All 24 successfully completed the 8 weeks. We had no dropouts. There was, I give kudos to the parents, because we had tremendous parental involvement, as well as some support from the Arizona Community Foundation to help us really provide some resources. The program worked. We are now in the process of trying to get together funding, because we want to deal with this summer at least 60 who are in that 13, 14, 15-year-old, at least 60 of those kids. And we have some partners who are just admirable. Individuals where we placed folks before, young folks. As a matter of fact, I should hasten to say that some of them are still working at those places where they were placed, right onto those employers. But we are looking at doing an increased activity, more kids, and more placements in the world of work.
Tell us where are you placing these kids?
Well, we place them with private employers. We place them into nonprofit areas. We place them into areas of where there's a real commitment to youth, i.e. the Greater Phoenix Urban League. I mean, we ask folks there, well, can you take 2 or 3 kids and really train them, but have them work with you for at least 8 weeks.
Okay.
This coming summer, the good Lord willing, and the creek's don't rise, we have these partners who have joined us. We're going to be working with the Boy Scouts.
Okay.
The individuals who's committed to work with us for these 60 kids are going to meet some of the requirements that we had in terms of insurance for folks who are in the workplace and working. They aren't requiring that they join the Scouts, but they're going to make some spots available. We also have individuals from the public safety sector. The FBI has committed to us that they're going to provide some of the workshops and training and placement for these young folks, because certainly, as you've mentioned so many times, we want to get a head start so that we can keep these kids off the street, and particularly keep them out of incarceration.
Right.
You know, and the only way we're going to do that is really step up to the mic and make sure that they receive the kind of guidance that's necessary, so they don't get waylaid and go to something negative. So the FBI, the Boy Scouts, those will both be placements. As a matter of fact, we're looking at doing a troop.
Okay.
I'm not young enough for the Scouts.
Yeah, you passed the boy's age.
Hey, that's for sure. That's for sure. But we're going to have a troop that works right out of our facility, OIC, and parents are required, again, to be an intricate part of the program that really is serving these individuals. Now, we're not leaving out education. We're dealing with the STEM activity, science, technology, engineering, and math. That's going to be a part of their orientation. We're also dealing with the orientation to the world of work, grooming, hygiene. We have, when folks come in, and the first day, as a matter of fact, we advise all the folks who are with us that we do not have baggies and saggies.
Right. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
all right. You got to dress.
You have to dress.
For success.
Right.
That's right.
Dress for success. So that's going to be a part of our orientation, and we are looking forward to really making a difference with the kids. It's not like our organization, but it's the individuals themselves who are making a difference in this gap that is not currently receiving any kind of federal or state support.
All right. We're going to take another short break, and we'll come up and wrap up this conversation here. Stay tuned. We'll be back.
Here at Window World, we provide the best quality windows and doors for the lowest price. You see, Window World windows are made with double the UV protection of most other vinyl windows. Plus, we exclusively offer Solar Zone Sun Shield glass with a 0.14 SHGC rating. That's Window Nerd Talk for the highest UV protection and heat-resistant glass available.
I couldn't believe it. I'd stayed in my room, and it was so hot in there. Now that that's in there, it's nice. It is so cool to the touch.
Window World gave us the top value and top quality for our money, and the service has been first class.
Get 6 large premium sliding windows, plus a new sliding patio door, all with Solar Zone Sunshield glass, installed tax included, for one complete low price of only $4,650. Or get 7 premium slim frame windows installed for only $36.50. Call today at 602-357-0905. That's 602-357-0905.
Window World, simply the best.
For definitely less.
I'm Russell Shaw with Realty One Group. For years, I've been telling you, we help more home sellers sell, offer flexible commissions, the right to sell it yourself, and if you're not happy, fire me. Let my results speak.
Over asking cash offer within 8 hours of listing. Full price in 3 days.
2 properties in 2 years, each sold in less than a week.
I'm not bragging. I'm applying for a job. I want to be your realtor.
Call 602-957-7777.
Thank you.
George Dean, President and CEO of Greater Phoenix Urban League, a leading provider of human services in the Valley. You're watching Urban Connections, and if you are just tuning in, you need to know you've missed some very important information and so forth, but I'm talking with Dr. Gene Blue, the President and CEO of Arizona OIC, Opportunities Industrialization Centers, and we're talking about some of the programs that they have there. We talked about the veterans programs and what they're doing with homeless veterans in terms of finding housing for them, and even more importantly, or just as importantly, I should say, is those 13 and 14-year-olds in the Gap project, 13, 14, and 15-year-olds that's teaching them about the world of work and so forth, and the partners that they have. These kids are learning, as you said earlier, about grooming and what you call it, shag.
And no baggies and saggies.
No baggies and
dress
saggies.
for success.
And dress for success and so forth. But they're also learning about being on time for work,
definitely.
Hours of work, and taking breaks and all of these kind of things. And how to get along with the co-workers and all of these kind of things is a very important part of it. But Gene, I know that you, as the President and CEO, was also involved with the MLK celebration. In fact, I think you serve as president of that particular committee and so forth. And you got something going on with them?
We are blessed that we're going to involve some of these youngsters in the GAP program in the MLK activity for 2019.
Okay.
We had a very successful program for 2018. We're looking at 2019 and working directly with us as a co-chair of a couple of the events is City Councilman Laura Pastor.
Okay.
Vice Mayor Laura Pastor. She was just most instrumental in securing resources and getting involvement of the private community, particularly for our awards and scholarship breakfast and for raising money for scholarships for young folks. So some of these people, some of these GAP students will benefit from the scholarship money that has been raised due in no small part to Laura's efforts.
Okay.
We have started already planning for 2019, and we took a little breather, you know, like right after January, because that's what most of the activities are, and went directly into the Black History Month. But now we're in March and off and running for 2019.
All right.
We intend to have as our kickoff, the signature event will be the awards and scholarship breakfast held at the Phoenix Convention Center. And God willing, we're going to really kick it off with a major breakfast. We've got some surprises for folks. I'm not going to tell them about those.
All right.
But we want everyone to be involved and to support the MLK activity.
Okay, very good. We're running out of time. I'm getting a signal there saying that wrap it up. So I want to say, first of all, thank you for coming and sharing this information with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
And if people want to get in touch with OIC, give me a phone number.
They can reach us at 513-8311, 602. 513-8311.
All right. Dr. Gene Blue, President and CEO, Arizona OIC. Thanks for being the guest on Urban Connections. George Dean, President and CEO of the Greater Phoenix Urban League, and we'll see you next month on Urban Connections.